What's up YouTube, I'm back with another great tutorial and this is what we're going to make today. I prepared another Trance project and I used only Ableton Stack and Serum 2 so that the most of you can rebuild it. But if you want to download the full project file including all the samples, presets and effect racks I used, you can do that with the link in the description. And if you like this kind of content, make sure you follow me on my socials, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, that would help me a lot. Thanks for the support and now let's jump into the project. So for this Trance project we are at 150 BPM. And in the key of A sharp minor. For the arrangement I built two different 8-bar loops here. The first 8 bar loops we are introducing the vocal, and in the second 8 bars we have a little variation in the drums and the synths, and we are playing the full vocal here. But we go through the arrangement later. Let's start with the low end. So the low end sounds like this. So we have a very subby kick with a long tail, and then we have a rolling offbeat bass line, which is playing 2 notes after each kick. And then the bass line is playing a simple 4-note melody here, together with the sub layer, which I added to boost the sub frequencies of the bass line and to have more controls about the low frequencies and the mid and highs. The kick itself sounds like this. And I used the kick out of my latest sample pack. You can grab that on the YPP store, and it's the Punchy Trance Kick 9 here. Shorten up the length a little bit and increase the fade out to avoid any clicking in the sample. Then I added a drum bass only with 20% here to give the kick a little boost. And then I added a EQ with a low cut to take out the very low frequencies under 30 Hz and boosted the frequencies around 45 Hz here a little bit. And at the end, a utility mono to avoid any phase issues. So for the bass line, as I mentioned, I have 2 different layers. And for the first bass layer, which is the main bass layer, I created a Serum preset. And for this preset, I used 2 different oscillators. The first oscillator is with a custom wavetable. And with that, we have more transient and click sound in the bass line. Set the phase and the randomness to 0, and for the second oscillator I used the default wavetable, also with 0 phase and randomness, but here I increased the unison to get a wide bass line. So without the oscillator B, so it's very mono, but when I turn on the oscillator B, you get a very wide sound. Lowered the gain here of oscillator B so that it plays under the oscillator A. For example, when I turn the gain up, you can hear it start sounding weird, so it's an important step to set the gain right of your oscillators. For the envelopes, I have 2 envelopes here. Envelope 2 is controlling the cutoff of the MG Low 12 filter here, and envelope 3 is also controlling the cutoff here, but with a very short decay time. And with that, we can bring more transient and click sound into the bass line. Let me show you when I turn down the envelope 3. And with the envelope 3, you can hear you have that nice click sound in the first 70 milliseconds of your note, which is an important step to help your bassline cutting through the mix later. For the FX, I added a distortion on tube mode, a compressor for a little boost. Then I boosted the frequencies around 95 Hz here a little bit with the equalizer here. And don't forget to turn on the mono here, because that really gives your bassline another sound. Let me show you how it sounds without mono. And with. So you can hear it sits tighter and get more pluggy, so it's also an important step here. For the processing of the first bass layer, I added a compressor here, which is a sidechain compressor. So every time the kick is playing, our bass line gets ducked. And this is an important step because our kick is longer than 2 8 notes here. So if you're not sidechaining them, they would clash here. So it's an important step to not destroy your mix and that the kick and the bass line is playing well together. Then I added the war effect where I boosted the lows a little bit around 8% here, and another EQ to get rid of that unnecessary frequencies. So the sub bass layer sounds like this. I used operator for this, used the basic sine wave, increased the resonance here a little bit of the filter and pitched down the sine wave 2 octaves. Then I took out all of the mid and high frequencies with an EQ so that only the sub frequencies are left. Then a utility in mono. For the bassline group, I added another raw. This time I boosted none of these frequencies because only adding the raw without any settings will change your sound. Let me show you how it sounds without the raw. And with. So it's just a slightly boost, but it's enough for the bass line. On the kick and bass group, I added a glue compressor to bring the kick and the bass line together. And here I used a high attack time and a very low release time. Then I turn down the threshold until I have a gain reduction between 2 or 3 dB. And then I turned up the makeup until I have the same loudness as before. And once again, this is how the low end sounds. The drum section sounds like this. And the drums in this kind of genre are very busy, but it's important to bring that groove and energy to your track. So I started here with the basic 909 hi-hat. Added a delay with 5% wetness here, just to give that open head a little rolling. And a EQ to take out some of the low frequencies. Then I created a clap loop. And this one is nice because it's adding a groove to the drums and also dirtiness because I use the pedal here. So without the pedal, and this one is just playing under the claps, so I lowered the gain here a lot. But when we hear the full drum section, you can really hear what that clap loop is doing to your drums. You can really feel you get a lot more groove in the drums. So very important step. Then we have the main clap. Yeah, very nice and tight clap. Just cutted out some low frequencies here. Then we have 2 right loops, which are very important to get that wide feeling in the drums. And the second one. And together they're getting very busy, so be careful with that. But in this case, it's exactly what I wanted to achieve. But be careful that you not overdo the drums with that. Then we have a shaker. And this is also important for the groove. And for the second 8 bars, we have a tambourine loop. And this one is adding more excitement to the drums because the tambourine has a lot of high frequencies. And I use that for the second 8 bars because here the vocals coming in and it's the main part of the track. So I want more excitement. So when we hear the transition of the first 8 bars to the second 8 bars, you can really hear the second 8 bars get that nice excitement with the tambourine. So this is a nice technique when you want to achieve different energy levels or just want to have variation in your drum section. Yeah, because the drums are very busy, I added a glue compressor on the whole drums group to reduce the peaks and just smooth the things a little bit out here. And I use the same settings as we use for the low end. Yeah. Then we have the vocals, which I made by myself. I made a full video where I explain the process of making these, and I will link the video for you. So if you're interested in creating your own vocals with AI, you should definitely check that out. And the vocal sounds like this.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.
Feel it inside your body, can you feel it? And if you fall, I will be there for you.
And as you heard, I used a male and a female vocal, which is very cool because you can do nice call and response techniques like I did here in the transition. The male vocal is coming in.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.
And this is creating a nice feeling and energy. So for the synth group, I created 3 different synths. The first one is a synth plug, and it sounds like this. And I created that in Serum, and it's just a default shape with a unison of 6. The envelope 2 is controlling the cutoff of the MG12 filter here, and with the LFO1 here I also automated the cutoff and set the rate to 4 bar here, so it takes 4 bars to open the cutoff until this point here, and that's a nice way to have movement in the sound without drawing automations. And for the FX I added a compressor, a delay and a reverb, but I turned off the delay here because I'm using the Ableton delay. Then the Ableton delay with ping pong mode took out the low frequencies and lowered the high frequencies here a little bit. Then a compressor and an auto filter to modulate the filter at the beginning. The second synth is a plug reverb here, and therefore I loaded a plug sample into the sampler and then played a melody on top of the synth plug, so only the plug reverb sounds like this. and with the synth plug together. So the melody fits perfectly on top of the other melody, and yeah, the plug reverb gives that nice dreamy vibe to the track. For the processing, I just added the reverb, another EQ to take out the lows, a delay to have more wideness, and boosted the width even more with 160% here. And the third synth is a lead synth, which is playing the same melody as the synth plug. And here I did the same thing I did with the drums, because I want to add more excitement and variation in the second 8 bars. I added that lead sound, which is playing high frequencies. And yeah, it's just a layer of the synth plug to give that melody a boost in the second 8 bars. And the lead sound I also made in Serum, and it's again a default wavetable, this time with a unison of 12, so it's very wide. Modulated the cutoff again with envelope 2. Here I increased the sustain a lot to get that lead sound. And with the envelope 3, I just played around with the detune knob here. So when you increase the detune here, can achieve that nice wave synth sound, but I turned it off here for this project. Added a little bit of white noise to add that high frequencies we want. For the FX, a basic delay on pick-pop mode, a reverb, and a multiband compressor where I boosted the highs and mids a little bit, and then a filter to distort the high frequencies a little bit here. You can see it here, the high frequencies are a bit distorted, and equalizer to boost the highs even more and took out some of the mid frequencies here. And that's it for this preset, and then we're already done with the synths. For the FX group, nothing special here, just added a crash. This one is very important when it comes to the transition right here. Then we have the snare roll. And here I loaded a snare sample into the simpler, and then I draw in a basic 16 note pattern, lowered the velocity of the second note in the beginning, so we have that nice movement in the snare. And at the end, I turned back the velocity of all notes to make the snare roll faster at the end. Then I added a sweep up at the beginning of the track.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.
Modulated the filter here a little bit.
Let's turn the music on.
And then a sweep down for the second 8 bars. And yeah, that's already it for the sounds. Let's talk about the arrangement. So we have that little intro here in the first 2 bars, and the male vocal is doing its job. Let's turn the music on, and then the first 8 bars are coming in.
Let's turn the music on.
Increase the delay of the male vocal here so that it blends nice into the 8 bars here.
Music on.
So in the first 8 bars, nothing special going on. We have a few vocal chops, and these are important to prepare the listener that a female vocal is coming in the second 8 bars.
Feel it.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.
And then I took out the kick here and filled that gap with the drum loop and the crash. Yeah, that's a very simple technique to make a nice transition.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.
And in the second 8 bars, we give that track a nice excitement. So now the tambourine is playing and the lead sound is playing to, just to level up the second 8 bars when the vocals are coming in. You can really feel the difference between the energies of the first 8 bars and the second 8 bars.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.
Inside your body, can you feel it? And if you fall, I will be there.
And yeah, that's basically it for this project. I hope it was helpful for you and that you learned something new. Would love to read your questions and feedback in the comment section. Also let me know which artist or which track you want me to recreate next. And if you want to download the full project file, including all the samples, presets and effect racks I used, you can do that with the link in the description. You can also check out my other templates and my sample packs to support me in this channel. And if you like this video, make sure you follow me on my socials, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And now we listen to the full track. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.
Are you ready, baby? Let's turn the music on.